Fishing is supposed to be peaceful, quiet mornings on the water, a simple escape from everyday chaos. But sometimes the water fights back. These are 28 shocking fishing encounters caught on camera. Real footage, real danger, real consequences. Let's dive in. 1. The kayak shark attack. A fisherman was paddling his kayak alone in the middle of the ocean. Just him, the water, and his fishing gear. Then this happened. A shark rammed the back of his kayak. Hard. The impact sent the small vessel rocking violently. Water splashed over the sides. The fisherman gripped his paddle tight, trying to stabilize. His reaction? Surprisingly calm. Almost like he was used to it. The kayak wobbled dangerously, but thankfully didn't flip. The shark circled once more, then disappeared beneath the surface. Most people would panic, scream, paddle frantically toward shore. But this fisherman stayed composed, steady breathing, controlled movements. That calmness probably saved his life. Panic in a kayak means capsizing, and capsizing means you're in the water with whatever just attacked you. He made it back to shore safely. But the footage serves as a stark reminder: when you're fishing in open ocean, you're entering someone else's territory. 2. The octopus grip. In Russia's far eastern Primorsky Krai, a diver set out to explore underwater and film his adventure. At first, everything seemed harmless. Crystal clear water, colorful marine life, a peaceful dive. Until it wasn't. Without warning, he was caught in the grip of an octopus. Tentacles wrapped around his arms. Suction cups latched onto his wetsuit. The powerful grip tightened. Octopuses are deceptively strong. Their 8 arms contain hundreds of suckers, each capable of independent movement and incredible gripping force. This wasn't a small octopus either. Based on the footage, it was large enough to completely envelop a grown man's torso. The diver struggled, tried pulling away, but octopus grip doesn't work like that. The harder you pull, the tighter they hold. He had to stay calm, move slowly, work each tentacle off individually. After what felt like an eternity, he managed to break free, swam quickly toward the surface, emerged gasping. Fortunately, he escaped without serious injury, just some sucker marks on his arms and a story he'll never forget. But it raises an important question. What was he doing that attracted the octopus in the first place? 3. The Hurricane Gray Man. September 2018. Hurricane Florence was rolling toward the Carolina coast. Evacuation orders were in effect. Most people had already fled. But someone was watching Avalon Pier's live webcam, and they spotted something impossible. In the middle of the storm, a figure walked across the far end of the pier, then vanished. People called it the Gray Man, a ghost said to appear before hurricanes as a silent warning. The legend goes back over a century. Sightings on beaches like Hatteras and Pawleys Island, always before major storms, always alone. Locals believe those who see him get spared the worst of the hurricane's fury. Skeptics say it was just a camera glitch, a reflection, digital artifact, weather interference. But here's the interesting part. That storm shifted course just enough to miss the area where the Gray Man was spotted. Coincidence? Maybe. But the legend persists for a reason. Too many sightings, too many storms, too many last-minute course changes. The Gray Man remains one of the most enduring coastal legends in American folklore. 4. The dolphin boat invasion. A group of fishermen was enjoying a peaceful boat ride when things took a wild turn. Suddenly, without warning, a dolphin jumped into their boat. Not near the boat, not beside the boat, into the boat. Panic kicked in immediately. The dolphin thrashed. Water splashed everywhere. The boat rocked dangerously. They scrambled to figure out what to do next. How do you safely handle a 400-pound wild dolphin that's now trapped in your fishing vessel? One man called out to nearby fishermen for help. Others tried to keep the dolphin wet, pouring water over its body to prevent its skin from drying out. Dolphins can suffocate on land. Their weight compresses their lungs when they're not supported by water. Time was critical. More boats arrived. Multiple people coordinated to lift the dolphin and guide it back over the side. After several tense minutes, they successfully returned it to the ocean. The dolphin swam away, seemingly unharmed. Everyone on board breathed a collective sigh of relief. It's easy to imagine how this could have ended very differently. A panicked dolphin can be dangerous. Those powerful tails can break bones. Thrashing can capsize small boats. But thanks to quick thinking and cooperation, everyone, including the dolphin, made it out safely. 5. The alien cuttlefish. While combing the beach, a seashell collector stumbled upon something strange poking out of the sand. Using his tools, he gently pulled it free. What emerged looked absolutely otherworldly. A bizarre, alien-looking creature. Its underside featured a round mouth ringed by tiny tentacles. The texture was unnatural, the color unsettling. At first glance, It seemed like something from another planet, or maybe a deep-sea creature that had washed ashore from impossible depths. The footage went viral. Viewers were baffled, but marine biology experts quickly identified it as a common cuttlefish. Cuttlefish are cephalopods related to squid and octopuses. They're masters of camouflage, able to change color and texture in milliseconds. When they wash ashore and dry out, they take on this strange alien appearance. The soft tissue hardens, the color fades to pale, ghostly white. What looks terrifying is actually just a dead cuttlefish in an unfortunate state. But before identification, the speculation was wild. Aliens, deep-sea mutations, undiscovered species. It's a reminder that the ocean still holds mysteries, and sometimes, even common creatures can look completely alien when removed from their natural environment. 6. The runaway speedboat. This incident in Miami, Florida was caught on camera from two angles, one by a bystander, the other through CCTV footage. A speedboat went completely out of control, slamming into several docked boats, flipping over, creating chaos across the marina. What caused it? The adult operating the boat had let a young child sit on his lap and steer. The child accidentally hit the throttle. Full power, no warning. The boat lurched forward violently. The adult couldn't regain control in time. It was a reckless decision that could have turned deadly. High-speed boat impacts can kill instantly. Drowning, blunt force trauma, propeller injuries. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured, but the property damage was extensive. Multiple boats damaged, marina infrastructure destroyed, thousands of dollars in repairs. This serves as a critical safety reminder. Boats are not toys. They're powerful machines that demand respect and proper handling. Letting an untrained child operate a speedboat isn't cute. It's dangerous, and in this case, it nearly ended in tragedy. 7. The underwater mermaid silhouette. A man was diving underwater, recording the sea life around him. The water wasn't crystal clear, but visibility was decent. Everything seemed normal. Fish swimming, coral formations, typical underwater scenery, until he tilted his camera upward. That's when he captured a shadowy silhouette, something that appeared to be a mermaid. The figure had human-like proportions, arms, torso, but the lower body seemed to taper into something resembling a tail. It moved gracefully through the water above him, then disappeared. The footage sparked immediate debate. Was it a genuine sighting, or a clever setup staged for views? Skeptics pointed out several issues. The figure is backlit, making details impossible to verify. The movement could easily be a swimmer with a monofin specialized equipment that mimics a mermaid tail. Professional mermaids exist. They perform at aquariums and tourist attractions. They're trained free divers who use monofins for propulsion. So this could simply be someone practicing, or filming content, or entertaining tourists. But believers argue the proportions don't match typical monofin swimmers. The movement seems too fluid, too natural. Without additional footage or context, we'll never know for certain. But it's a reminder that our oceans remain largely unexplored. We've mapped more of the moon's surface than the deep sea. Could mermaids exist? Scientifically, it's highly unlikely, but the ocean has surprised us before. 8. The boat climbing snake. A fisherman set out on a murky river, hoping for a quiet day of fishing. Instead, he ended up face to face with something far more dangerous. A snake began slithering toward his boat, moving deliberately through the water, completely unfazed by his attempts to scare it off. He shouted, splashed water, banged on the side of the boat. The snake kept coming. To his absolute horror, it climbed right into the boat. You can imagine the fear in that moment, trapped on the water, a snake now sharing the small vessel, no easy way to escape. How he handled it remains unknown. The footage cuts off before resolution. But this raises serious questions about water snakes. How dangerous are they really? Most water snakes are non-venomous. They're more interested in fish than humans. But some species like cottonmouths are highly venomous. Their bite can cause severe tissue damage, sometimes death if untreated. And here's the problem. Identifying snake species while panicking in a boat is nearly impossible. So what do you do if a snake climbs into your boat? Stay calm. Don't make sudden movements. Give it space. Most snakes will leave on their own if not threatened. If it won't leave, carefully use an oar or paddle to guide it back into the water. Whatever you do, don't try to grab it. That's when bites happen. 9. The smooth lumpsucker. Roman Fedortsov, a deep-sea fisherman, recently caught a bizarre creature while trawling in the ocean depths. It looked almost alien. Gray, bulbous body, strange texture, completely unlike anything most people have ever seen. His Instagram followers were stunned. Comments flooded in. What is that thing? Is it real? Did you catch an alien? Roman eventually confirmed it was a smooth lumpsucker, a type of deep-sea fish rarely seen near the surface. The creature's strange appearance was likely due to pressure changes when it was hauled up from the depths. Deep-sea fish live under immense pressure. When brought to the surface rapidly, their bodies can't adjust. Internal organs expand, eyes bulge, skin texture changes. What looks alien is actually just the result of catastrophic decompression. Smooth lumpsuckers normally live at depths exceeding 1,000 meters. They use a suction disc on their belly to attach to rocks and avoid being swept away by currents. In their natural habitat, they look relatively normal, but bring them to the surface, they transform into something from a science fiction movie. It's definitely not something you catch every day, and it's a reminder that the deep ocean holds creatures we still barely understand. 10. The tent storm. While on a fishing trip, a man camped on the southern island side of Maple Lake when disaster struck. A massive storm rolled in without warning. Sideways rain blasted through the tent's mesh, soaking everything inside. Wind howled across the lake, hitting 40 miles per hour. The tent fabric whipped violently, poles bent dangerously. He struggled to secure everything, gear flying around, water pooling on the tent floor. The temperature dropped rapidly. Wet clothes and cold wind create hypothermia conditions fast. For several terrifying minutes, it seemed like the tent might collapse entirely, or worse, get picked up by wind gusts and thrown into the lake. But he managed to hold things together, reinforced the stakes, adjusted the rain fly, rode out the worst of it. Fortunately, nothing serious happened that day. He survived with just wet gear and a racing heart. But it could have ended very differently. Camping near water during storm season is inherently risky. Lightning strikes water, wind accelerates across open surfaces. Flash flooding can occur in minutes. This footage serves as a reminder. Always check weather forecasts, have an evacuation plan, and never underestimate how quickly conditions can deteriorate. 11. The mystery beach carcass. On May 8, 2013, a group of fishermen from New Zealand stumbled upon something massive washed up on the beach. A huge, decaying carcass, partially buried in sand, smell overwhelming. At first, they couldn't identify what they were looking at. The decomposition was too advanced. The size was staggering. It stretched nearly 30 feet long. Grayish-white flesh, exposed bones, unidentifiable features. Some speculated it was a whale. Others suggested a giant squid. A few even proposed it might be a previously unknown species. Marine biologists were called to examine the remains. Samples were taken, measurements recorded. To this day, no definitive identification has been made. Part of the problem is decomposition. When large marine animals die and wash ashore, they undergo rapid decay. Features that would normally help with identification, skin texture, fin shape, skull structure, deteriorate quickly. What's left is often an unrecognizable mass of flesh and bone that could be any number of species. These globsters appear regularly on beaches worldwide, and they almost always spark speculation about sea monsters or undiscovered creatures. But reality is usually more mundane. It's typically a decomposed whale or large shark. Still, without DNA analysis or expert examination, we can't say for certain what this New Zealand carcass was. And maybe that's okay. Some mysteries don't need solving. 12. The frozen bleeding dog rescue. While magnet fishing in Flint, Michigan, a Reddit user named Motor City Magnetfish stumbled upon something unexpected. Not metal, not treasure, a dog. The poor animal was soaked, shivering violently in the freezing water. Blood dripped from its paws. It was barely able to move. Despite the harsh conditions, the dog was still alive and wearing a collar with a phone number. The fisherman immediately called animal control. No answer. He tried 911. Also no response. "That's just Flint," someone off camera remarked. "They don't ever answer." So he took matters into his own hands, wrapped the dog in his jacket, tried to warm it up, checked for additional injuries. The dog was bleeding extensively from its paws, likely from running across frozen, sharp surfaces. He quickly contacted the family using the phone number on the collar. Within minutes, the dog's owner arrived, overwhelmed with relief, grateful beyond words. Thanks to the quick actions of these fishermen, the dog was rescued just in time. It later made a full recovery. But this raises disturbing questions. How did the dog end up in the water? Was it an accident or something more sinister? The collar suggests the dog was cared for, loved, not abandoned. Most likely scenario, the dog escaped, wandered too close to the water, fell through thin ice, and couldn't get out. Without intervention, it would have died from hypothermia within hours. This footage is a powerful reminder. Pay attention to your surroundings. You never know when you might be someone's last hope. 13. The Amazon River giant snake. While fishing in the Amazon River, a group of fishermen spotted something terrifying. a massive snake gliding silently through the water. The man filming wasn't sure if it was a giant anaconda or something even bigger. Anacondas are the world's largest snakes by weight. They can exceed 20 feet in length and weigh over 200 pounds. They're ambush predators, hiding in murky water, waiting for prey to come close, then striking with explosive speed. In the Amazon, anacondas regularly hunt caimans, capybaras, and even jaguars. Could they attack a human? Absolutely. There are documented cases of anacondas attacking people. Most victims survive, but the encounters are terrifying. The snake wraps around you, constricts, squeezes tighter with each exhale. Eventually, you can't breathe. Death comes from asphyxiation, not crushing, but the experience is horrifying either way. The footage from this encounter is brief and slightly blurry, but whatever it was, it left a lasting impression. The fishermen didn't stick around to investigate further. They paddled away quickly, hearts racing. Smart move. 14. The Caiman-infested river. In Brazil's Pantanal wetlands, a fisherman crossed a truly terrifying river. It was packed edge to edge with hundreds of caimans, all gathered in shallow water. During the dry season, much of the Pantanal dries up. Massive wetlands shrink to narrow channels. And that's when reptiles converge in massive numbers. Caimans are related to alligators and crocodiles. They're aggressive, territorial, and capable of serious harm. A single caiman can take down large prey. A group of them, absolutely deadly. Yet this fisherman seemed completely unfazed, experienced even. He calmly rowed through the river, navigating around the reptiles with practiced ease. For him, this was just another day, routine. But for anyone watching the footage, it's absolutely terrifying. One wrong move, capsizing, falling in, getting too close, and the situation turns fatal instantly. Caimans don't hesitate. They see movement. They attack. This footage serves as a reminder that some people live in environments most of us can't even imagine. What's routine for them would be a nightmare for us. 15. The aggressive Florida woman. While fishing in Florida, this happened. A woman suddenly appeared, furious, claiming the man was fishing where he wasn't allowed. Without warning, she tried to shove him into the water. The man barely reacted, stayed calm, didn't escalate. The whole thing lasted just a few seconds, and fortunately, he stayed composed enough to avoid getting pushed in. But this raises serious questions. What would you have done in his place? Getting shoved into water while fishing can be deadly. You're often wearing waders' heavy boots that fill with water and drag you down. Equipment gets tangled, panic sets in, drowning becomes a real possibility. This woman's actions could have killed him. And over what? An alleged fishing violation? The footage went viral. People were outraged. Some called for charges. Others defended the woman, saying he shouldn't have been trespassing. But regardless of who was right about the property rules, assault is never acceptable. If someone is breaking rules, you call authorities. You don't physically attack them. This man showed incredible restraint. Most people would have reacted far more aggressively. 16. The circling ocean shark. A lone fisherman was paddling his canoe in the middle of the ocean when his worst nightmare came true. A shark appeared, started circling him. He tried to keep it at bay, splashing water, banging his paddle against the canoe. But it kept coming back, closer each time. Sharks circle when they're investigating potential prey. They're trying to determine if you're worth attacking. Most shark encounters don't end in attacks. Sharks usually realize humans aren't their preferred food and swim away. But that usually is terrifying when you're alone in a tiny canoe surrounded by open water. This fisherman stayed calm, kept the shark at a distance, slowly paddled toward shore. After what felt like forever, the shark finally lost interest and disappeared into the depths. He made it back to land safely, shaken but unharmed. The footage serves as a reminder. Ocean fishing carries real risks. You're entering an environment where you're not the apex predator. Respect the water, respect the creatures in it, and always have an exit plan. 28 encounters, each one a reminder that fishing isn't always peaceful. The water holds dangers most people never consider. Which encounter shocked you most? Would you have survived these situations? Drop your thoughts below. And subscribe for more footage that shows the wild, unpredictable side of nature.